I am at an exhibition in the UK, and there is not a sound of a generator inside. No generator. It's silent. We just wanted to do something different, and we are so we are just doing something quiet or silent, and basically, yeah. So there is not a sound of a generator inside. Not one sound. There is no generator. The service and everything is running. I'm gonna try and let me take it from the page and show you where this is. It will just show you what I mean. And this is so look, I'm just showing you what's around. See, they got events. See, they got disabled toilets. Do you have that in construction Nigeria? Do you? That's what we're saying, you see. And there are different things all over. This is an exhibition hall. See, behind me there, that's an exhibition hall right there. See, I'm just showing you so that you understand. At this exhibition, um, there is no generator inside. And if you're going to build a nation, if you're talking about having a nation that works, this is a perfect example of it. This is in the UK, and they are building things, they are doing things. It works. If you see the light behind me, there is no generator. There's no generator. They've got toilets. I just showed you the disabled toilets. They've got things around. They've got parking bays. They've got everything that works. It works. And even I parked on a disabled bay because I'm driving down. And we're spending quite a bit of the time today just experiencing different things. Um, you know, exhibition on various things. And the reason why am I bringing this out? I'm bringing this out because those of you that talk about one Nigeria, can you have you can't have what I'm telling you here. It will never be allowed to take place. The government, the system is designed to make the life of the people easier. Do you understand? It is easy. It makes the life of the people easier. So that's why I am doing this program. And I like to come out and show different things. You know, if, if this is an opportunity, if we are going to build a nation, Nigeria is not a nation. It isn't. It is a contraction. And we have to be very, very clear that when we are leaving it, we are not going to move into from one contraction to the next. So what we are here doing, and I thank you for watching, those of you watching now. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to CitizenAY on YouTube now. Thank you for those who have already subscribed. Please continue to share our broadcast. We do appreciate your support. It's very, very important to us. There's going to be a talk right now about, you know, how to, they do programs about how you can learn things, and they provide the conditions to make you be able to be part of that experience. This country, the many of the things they do is all about experiencing things that make you feel good. What makes you feel good in Nigeria? What makes you feel good in Nigeria? Tell me. Name one thing that makes you feel good. Is it the good roads? Do you have good roads? Is it water? Is it electricity? Is it schools? Is it bridges? For Monrovia, Abbas Emmanuel Whistle, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. You tune in. You're watching Citizen as a platform where we speak into power. Sometimes we will just come in and make discussions like this to make us look at things from a different point of view. Um, a lot of what you see in the UK here, people are out over the weekend because now they've relaxed the laws in terms of COVID. So that means that there's a lot more people doing different things. They're able to go out. and experience different events and activities, you know, and it's all designed to make you feel you are in a sane society. What we have in contractual Nigeria is not a sane society at all. It isn't. In fact, what you have in contractual Nigeria is a place where everything is done to frustrate you, particularly if you are as an indigenous uh, person, if you are from Middle Belt, from Yoruba land, from Igbo land, because the governments do not consider you worthy of having experiences such as I'm telling you now. What I'm going through now is an experience to make you feel good, to learn something, to be able to discuss, to actually grow as a person. What does Nigeria, that contraction, do to make you grow? Praying doesn't make you grow, it only makes you dumb. You heard me say, I'm not gonna, I make no excuses. Praying in that contraction is designed to keep you dumb. It stops you from asking questions. It stops you from holding those you're meant to hold into account to account. And we need to change that mindset. And I make no apologies to anybody for stating that. I am in a place, I'm going to show you again briefly. Let me show you again. Let me show you again. Let me show you. I'll just quickly take this off and I'm going to show you. Let me show you now. Look at this. Say, look around. See over there. So, so what I'm just showing you to see, so you can get an idea. You see that? These are people here waiting for the next event, and I'm just going to show you again as we go along. So you look at that. Look at the size of the hall. See that? That is what a system that is designing experiences for people to experience, to learn, and to grow. Tell me now. Let's bring it back to me. Tell me what experiences does Contract Nigeria provide for you? Tell me. And to have experience, you need to have infrastructure. You have to get good roads, 24/7 electricity. Look around there. There's electricity. It's running. It's working. It's available. You need that. You don't have that in contraction Nigeria. That's why we say break it up. People are here. They sit in an orderly manner. I show you the pictures. I don't want to go to zoom in on people too much. But people are enjoying and experiencing things in a different way. In a way that makes you feel, wow, you know. Thank you. So the design things.
Sorry, sorry, no, are you okay sat there, or do you want me to move a bit further forward?
No, no, I'm okay for now. I'm okay here. I'm okay there. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. So, exactly. So, see, if I'm sat down here, they just come to ask me because I'm disabled. They just come to ask me, would I like to move forward to see to get a better view? They, this just happened now. You saw somebody come and ask me a question. They said, oh, would I like to move forward? That's a good society where they are thinking about the experience, how people, various people with different abilities, how they experience, what they experience, how they can make it better. What does Nigeria do to make your life better? Hmm? What does Nigeria do to make your life better? A few things here. Just to, and I will keep asking this question. I am posing this question because I need you to really begin to understand that that contraction is a disaster. It is a disaster, and we must break it. We have to have a nation that works, Yoruba nation, with our own constitution, access to our mineral resources, being able to improve the lives of every citizen, the government being able to be held accountable. These are things that must they must. No, this is I was not in any way, shape, or form expecting to be asked. But they came and they asked me, do you want to move forward? Will that make you comfortable? Without me even, how many people will get this kind of service in your contract manager? How many? So these are when we talk about things and we really are talking about breaking one Nigeria, breaking it and dismantling it. These are the things I mean. As I'm talking to you now, if you see the light behind me, dimming down, there is not a sound of one generator inside anywhere. You won't find it. But if you are having this in Lagos now, there will be generator fumes impacting you as in the hall. You will hear the noise of the generator in the background. Tell me if I'm lying. This is why we must dismantle contraction and we must. So I'm bringing this to your attention, and I'm hoping we can learn from it as a group. I'm hoping that we can find a way to somehow, enlighten us, open our minds, see things from a different perspective. We have everything we need: resources, land, human resources, the ability to do it. So, what I will say to you, I'll be back later on, but I wanted to just show you what is happening. I mean, let me show you the. Sorry, let me just go back. Let me show you on the screen again one more time what they're doing. One second, I'm just having a sip of that. Okay, now I want to show you something. This is something you probably be seeing over there, but I'm just showing you briefly. Briefly. Yeah, here we go. Look at that. Look, they're there preparing everything works, and it's all planned. The guy that you see in the middle there, he was the one who came to ask me if I'd like to move forward. The guy with the money. This is how things should be. And I want us to really begin to change our minds.
Good morning. What a crowd! We were just talking about we clearly need some more seats, don't we? This is amazing. I'm absolutely astounded at how many people we've got for this. It's amazing, isn't it? Okay, so next on the stage we've got Abby and Tim. Abby is going to be talking about Abby Bikes Britain and her business and everything she's doing around that. And Tim is a OS Ordnance Survey ambassador. He's going to be talking alongside Abby about his journeys. So can I please have a massive round of applause for Abby and Tim?
Thank you very much. It's great to see so many people here. Clearly, maps is a subject which gets the crowds in, so it's lovely to see. I'm Tim. I work at Ordnance Survey. I run the digital product called OS Maps, so that's kind of what we're going to be talking about, and we're going to kind of weave it in with a few of Abby's stories. It's going to be a little bit impromptu and off the cuff, and we can take a bit of questions at the end. So we'll see where it goes. We're going to learn about digital navigation, OS Maps. We'll see what happens. So, Abby, do you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you so much. Hopefully you guys can all hear us nice and clearly, but my name is Abby Barnes. I'm the founder and director of Spend More Time in the Wild. I shoot YouTube videos and basically have a lot of fun outside, thankfully. If you see a few Stay Wild t-shirts, people, that's what we like. But I'm here to accompany Tim to basically partner his map reading knowledge with my sort of adventures, and as I say, we're here to answer lots of different questions for you guys and talk about maps and all the good stuff outdoors. So to kick things off, I've just brought along a short video from those how 2 minutes ago. Actually, that was a little bit of a mad rush, but it's just a short video to sort of show some of the different things you can get up to outside. We filmed this one in 2019, and then what we'll do is we'll jump into all things map reading. Let's see if we can get this thing to work. Very much. That was fun. Oh, look at this. Clear. Don't look down. Look! At this view! Whoa! Honestly, Hamburg is so great just to be here.
Wow, what a great way to start the event. I think that sort of summarises the outdoors. It's an inspiring place, and that's really what Ordnance Survey has been trying to do for the last kind of at least 100 years. We've got a bit of heritage. It started back in 1791. It was more of a military organisation, and then at the start of the century, we realised actually, mapping is a great tool for unlocking the outdoors, and seeing things like that makes you realise kind of what an amazing world we live in. I know it's maps are designed just to help you explore that. So we're going to kind of dive into some technical detail, but actually the ultimate purpose of what we do is helping more people get outside in order to have moments like that. And so that's what's great having Abby here as well. She's going to share some of the things she's done. So I guess as a starter, Abby, planning all of that, what's your general approach when you're trying to find an adventure outside?
So I'm a big fan of map and compass. I generally spend the beginning part of my walk getting a bit shaken by, usually, does anyone else find when you want to find where you're on a map, it's always on the other side of the map. So you're wrestling with the wind and eventually find where you are. But in partnership with a good old map and compass, it can be really nice to use Ordnance Survey and their software. So I've got it on my phone, but you can also use it on the computer as well, which is really nice and helpful for sort of plotting routes. When it comes to sort of getting ready for a walk, I know a lot of us can use different software. I can have a recommendation from a friend or family member. We want to go do this. I don't know, there's that classic Four Waterfalls walk in the Peak District, or rambling route in the Lake District, or something on the Southwest Coastal Path. But as we build familiarity with maps and the different symbols and signs that we can see on them, we can build our very own experience and our very own adventures. We can cultivate a trip that really speaks to us. Many of us have different passions, whether it's geology or archaeology or history or I don't know, cafes. Who loves a good cafe? And you can see all of that on a map. And this is where OS are absolutely fantastic, because whether you're going 25, 1 to 25 or 1 to 50 in your scale, you can really plot a walk or adventure that really speaks to you.
Cool, thank you. That was a perfect length of time to sort the Wi-Fi out. As you can see from this, digital technology never works when you need it to, but that's why a paper backup is always important. That's why OS Maps is a mobile app and a website. So I'm going to show you the website to start with, hopefully. It's tethering off my phone. And then the mobile app is designed there to help you when you actually want to go and do something. So you can download everything offline, off the phone, and then it doesn't matter if you don't have Wi-Fi or signal or anything like that. Hopefully it will all still work. So I've opened up Explore. This is the web version of OS Maps. So OS Maps is a subscription service. It's something you can get if you come to the OS stand over there. If you buy it this weekend, it's 20 quid. And normally it's a little bit more than that, so make sure you buy it today if you are interested. And that gives you basically an annual subscription to the website and the app. You probably recognise our paper maps. So all 607 of the paper maps are connected into the subscription, and we're adding more stuff all the time. So although we're going to focus on the UK, we started adding international countries as well. We've got Australia mapping, we've got New Zealand, we've got America, and we're sort of working our way around the world. It's not OS recorded mapping, it's the best mapping we can find from other national mapping agencies around the place. So we'll focus on the UK, and I guess perhaps a good way of starting off would be to get someone's favourite national park, and we'll head there and try and do this live. So, what's your favourite national park? Snowdonia, perfect. So we'll zoom in here. All of these blobs you can see on the map are premium routes. So OS Maps comes preloaded with about 10,000 premium routes. These are from our trusted partners like Country Walking, Trail Magazine, AA Walks. So you can kind of, as you can see on the map, you can guarantee there's a good suggestion for somewhere nice to walk. If there isn't, then we've got about 2 million user-generated routes as well. So pretty much every part of the country there'll be something. And then of course you can, if you want to do your own thing, you can do your own thing. So I'll zoom in on Snowdonia, and as you see, as I keep zooming in, we'll work our way, if the Wi-Fi permits us, through the different levels of mapping. I'll try not to spill water over the stage. So this is 50k mapping. Abby, when would you tend to use 50k versus 25k?
I'm a big advocate for 25, I'm not going to lie. But I think 50 is nice if you're really trying to get the scale of the landscape. You know, perhaps you're, I don't know, let's just go Airbnb, and oh, that's a cheap accommodation, or a bunkhouse, or a campsite someone's recommended. And I think then looking at a 1 to 50 can be really nice, because you can see what's going on around you. And then perhaps, say, oh, I don't want to get in the car for the duration of this trip, because I've just driven up there, I want to be more environmentally sensitive. You can then zoom into your 1 to 25, and you can get more sort of intimate details of the landscape that you're going to be exploring.
Yeah, perfect. I think, so 50k, you may recognise from the pink Land Ranger maps, 25k, just to sort of explain the jargon, is what you see on the orange Explorer map. So that's all kind of here, and as you zoom in, it will pick the relevant scale. So keep going, let the Wi-Fi catch up, and at some point we'll move over from 50k to 25k. There we go. I think one of the great things about 25k is just the sheer amount of detail it packs into a small space on the screen, which I don't think this is why people love OS Maps, right? The bridleways, public footpaths, access land, it covers a lot in. Do you want to talk through some of the ways in which if we're going to plan a route, say from here, what we're going to look at?
Well, I think generally speaking, it's quite nice to start with a car park or a station, or a campground, all of which you can see on an OS map. I mean, you can see here we've got public toilet, we've got a pub. Who doesn't love a pub? Just for coffee only, obviously. And then, you've got these different types of roads here, which are these colourful blocks. So you've got your C roads, B roads, A roads, you've got motorways, it's all on there, so you really can see everything you need to know about the landscape. And then we've got, we've got these green lines here, which symbolise we've got footpaths, public footpaths, we've got bridleways. So we've got the different scales which outdoor users can use, different rights of ways, from footpaths right through to bridleways to restricted byways, and so on. So generally, that's what I tend to start with, and then it depends where I want to go, really.
Fair enough. I think that's a really important point. Is a lot of people, their instinct is to reach for Google Maps if they're heading out. one of the main reasons that Order Survey maps are so useful is that access rights. So you can see on here the kind of orangey access land areas where you have the right to roam. The green footpaths show you've got a legal right of way to go there, and that's obviously in the UK with lots of private land around really important. So let's pretend we are searching for a route. There are 2 suggestions here already from the database. So let's pick this first one and have a look if it meets our needs.
That's a big one.
There we go. Yeah. So it's given a severe technical difficulties from Trail Magazine. You can see there on the left-hand side, you've got the elevation profile. Gives you a good idea of, if you're after a leisurely stroll, this is probably not the route for you. And then, if I point up here, a bit more extra information. So, how long might this route take you? As a general rule of thumb, the timings are quite ambitious. These don't include stopping for lunch or pausing to have a breathe on the way up. So, make sure you take that into account if you're working out how much you've got to do. And a little temperature, so 12.3, which for Snowdonia is not too bad this time of year.
That's quite nice, actually.
Nice it's live weather.
Jeez, we're in the wrong. No, we're not. Sorry.
Yeah, we're stuck indoors, but this would be a nice day to go and do this route. The other thing we like doing on the web version is a 3D mode, so this is really good. Obviously, I'm sure you guys are all expert navigators and you can interpret the contours, work out exactly what you're going to do. If you're not, or if you're showing someone else who isn't so familiar with map reading what you're about to do, you can flick into 3D mode, so I'll just tap that there. This is probably going to be a little bit painfully slow on my hotspot, but what it does there is builds up a terrain model and overlays the data on it, and allows you to basically bring the route to life a little bit and see what it's going to be like. So what I'll do is flip over to the aerial imagery. And this should kind of give us quite a realistic view then. Obviously we can see it's quite up and down on the left, see what it's going to look like in real life. So it's just downloading the terrain data as we speak.
This can actually be really useful in those open access lands where you just want to go for a wee yonder. To check to see where you might have river crossings and other things that might not be so obvious on OS maps, especially if you're using 1 to 50. If you're mapping out your sort of own expedition, but I have to be honest, we've kind of jumped right in here. There might be some people here who haven't even handled a map before. So what would you say to someone who's gone into, I don't know, Cotswold, Outdoors, something like that, and they've picked up a map for the first time? Where would you suggest they actually start with that?
It's a really good, and I think this is one of the reasons I really like starting with digital. I mean, it's important to say, I guess, if you're not an experienced walker, this is great for getting an idea of what you're going to do, but there is no substitute for having a paper map backup with you. So we wouldn't recommend ditching this and only relying on a phone. Your battery can die, you can drop it in a puddle, there's all manner of things that can go wrong. So one of the nice things about this is it's kind of like an easy introduction, and you can take a paper map, you can look at it, you can compare it to what does it look like in 3D in real life, and it's just a really nice way of kind of bringing up your map reading skills and sort of combining them. So yeah, good places to start. Obviously with this we've got preloaded routes, so actually a lot of people might not want to go to the effort of planning a route, putting a paper map out on the dining room table, spending a piece of string and all that sort of thing. So if you just want to go out for a nice walk, then starting with OS Maps, looking at the trusted routes we've got in there, it's just a really nice way of finding a good route quickly. As you progress, you might then sort of learn what your tastes are. You might enjoy tramping through bogs, in which case, plan your own route through a boggy moorland. You might realise you just prefer sticking to the valley floor and chaining the pubs on the map and turning it into boggy.
I gave that away quite early on, didn't I, really? Finding the pubs.
Yeah, I mean, genuinely, we often ask users what are the things they most want to see on the map, and you might not be surprised, though. Pubs is always number 1, toilets is number 2, and cafes is number 3. So pubs are important. They're a lovely way to start or end or in the middle of the walk. So yeah, as you can see here on the 3D mode, it gives us a good. I'm trying to hold the microphone and Debbie. I'm going to pull up my assistant Debbie. Could you just pan around on 3D mode, because I'm going to struggle to do this and hold a microphone. As I said, really good way of understanding the route. You might look at a map and be able to interpret it instantly, you might not. And so this is a good way of seeing if it's going to go up a knife edge ridge along a cliff top on a windy day. You might want to avoid certain bits. So a really good starter. We talked to a lot of people in the outdoor industry, mountain leaders. Obviously they know how to read a paper map, but they're often taking out groups who are less experienced. So this is a really nice way of, if you're going out for a walk with people who you kind of want to let them know what they're going to be doing, show it them in 3D mode, and at least they've got some idea then of what you're taking them out on, and they have an opportunity to object if they don't really fancy heading straight up the knife edge ridge you planned.
I have to say, it's not something I've used quite a bit, and it's interesting to see that. I mean, we were flicking through yesterday, because obviously all of this is translatable onto your phones. And yeah, it was quite fascinating having a play around with it. But the one thing I picked up as well is, so you've got your sort of OS maps, you've got your 3D like this, but you can also add on the OS maps overlays of things like the National Cycle Network. So who here is a keen cyclist? Hey, we got a few hands, that's what we like, good job. So I didn't know this, but you can actually see all the different national cycling networks mapped out on the OS map, which you can have on your phone. So I don't know, say you're just cycling along on a road and you really want to get off the road, you need to find a bridleway or a national cycling network which has these designated waymarked cycling routes, and ping it all up on here, and there we go, adventure off the road, into the hills and back and beyond.
Nice, yeah. Another really nice overlay is the green space one. So this is one that really came into its own in lockdown. It's designed for use in urban areas. So obviously, like, it's nice to look at somewhere like Snowdonia, but you know, most of the time we're not lucky enough to live in the middle of a national park. So if we go somewhere slightly more prosaic, like Southampton, which is where OS is based, gives you a good example of the sorts of adventures you can do from your doorstep, really. And what was really interesting in the first lockdown we had back in 2017, whatever it was, literally overnight, the use of green space layer in OS Maps went up by a factor of 10. So everyone was basically kind of cooped up into their local area, and they were looking for things to kind of get out that little bit of greenery that they were missing from the outdoors. And so if I zoomed into Southampton and I turn on green space, you'll see. It might look like a big urban area. Southampton has a lot of concrete, but it also has a lot of hidden gems sort of tucked away. The common in the middle. It shows things like sports grounds, play parks. Really useful if you're trying to entertain kids. It's got all of the playgrounds in your local area. So yeah, not every outdoor adventure has to be in a national park going up 3,000 feet mountains. It can be just around the back door.
Absolutely. And part of what I do is spend more time in the wild, is help people understand that adventure is not just a physical thing that we undertake, it's a mental attitude. And you know, the last 2 years where we really have been quite constrained and restricted in our access to the outdoors, it is a matter of perspective. It can be a little tricky at times, but it is good to build that mental resilience, you know. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, generally speaking, a long distance hiker, I tend to head out on trails, as you've seen, sort of around the planet. And the lessons I learned from the trails, I really tried to translate into my day-to-day life when we were in lockdown. I mean, I'm not going to lie, we are quite lucky to live on the edge of Exmoor, but I think that's where this can come into its own. Because, you know, as we mentioned right at the beginning, we all have our own individual passions. As I said, geology, archaeology, wildflowers, and in these green spaces, we just have to open our eyes to that perspective to notice the small things, or really try and educate ourselves. And again, you know, say we're walking along, a bit like that Pokemon Go, isn't it? But with OS maps, we can challenge ourselves to find different things, notice these tiny little features on the maps. You know, they can give us such a fascinating insight into the landscape. You know, quite common in those open access lands that we saw earlier, those sort of peachy coloured ones. You can see little hut circles marked on there, or tumuli, which are burial mounds from the Bronze Age. You can tell I like my archaeology. And all of this you can take away from a map. And I just think it can be a really nice, engaging way, you know. And for me, I struggle quite a bit with my back. I've got a bit of a back issue going on, so getting the distances in is getting a little bit trickier. And that's one way of sort of trying to open my mind up, is just challenge myself to get out there, have fun. And we touched a bit on navigation. Obviously, using a map is quite a key part of that. But what other things would you say we need in partnership with a map, a physical map, when we're out and about on the trail?
That's great. That was going to be the question I was going to ask you. But
oh, beat me to it.
I mean, yeah, obviously, this is key for planning. I'll quickly sort of touch on the doing side, and then maybe we can talk a little bit about what else you need to do. So let's just, I've picked another random route. This is in the New Forest. So if we imagine we were going to go and do that route, there's a couple of things we'd recommend. So first of all, you can print this off, and that's one of the nice things about OS Maps is you you have unlimited printing if you're a premium subscriber, so you can print any map of the UK at A4 or A3, and maps of the rest of the world now as well. And so if you don't have a paper map you've already bought, you can simply just print off the version. What I quite like doing is printing off on A4, folding up and putting it in my pocket, and then I don't have to sort of wrestle with a massive paper map on a windy day. But you've still got that paper backup, which you might need if your phone runs out of battery. The second thing to recommend, kind of route planning wise, is once you've found a route, if you on OS Maps add it to your favourites here, so I click on that heart, that's now synced with my account. So I then take my phone. What I'm not going to try and do is connect this to the TV because I'm sure it's not going to work. But if I open up, basically I'm looking at exactly the same thing on my phone screen now. I'm logged in on the same account, so everything syncs across. And that route is now here in my favourites on the phone. So I've got that there, and I just tap on the download map button, and that saves it to the device so that you don't need any mobile phone signal. I can put it in flight mode now, head out, and the map will be there, the route will be there. And actually, even if your phone's in flight mode, it can still do GPS. So the GPS satellites which are up in the sky, as long as you've got a clear view of the sky, it can tell you exactly where your location is. So a really handy feature there. If you're worried about battery usage, put it on flight mode. It's not going to use all of its battery trying to sort of send and receive text messages, update all of your apps. But you've got the map downloaded. It can use GPS even in flight mode, and then you've basically got map, you've got your route, and then you've got a little arrow pointing you exactly where you were. So yeah, that's the sort of the map side of it. Obviously, it depends on where you're going. This is a nice kind of gentle route in the New Forest, so you might not need too much kit. You're never sort of more than a mile from the nearest road. Obviously, it depends on the weather. It's 15 degrees, as you can see in the New Forest, so you probably don't need that down jacket. I mean, what would you put in your rucksack on a typical day out?
I think that's a good question, actually. When it comes to packing for a day hike, so we're not doing an overnight stop. Sort of your basics, sort of your navigation systems. You've got your layers to make sure you're nice and protected from the elements. Should it come in? I mean, on a day like today, it can be quite tempting to skip, but just chuck a waterproof in there, just in case. Food, water, always good to have a little bit of spares. I've usually got a bit of candle milk head tucked to the top of my rucksack that tends to come out on every walk, even though it's supposed to be a spare. Then first aid kit's always good to have. It was interesting actually, day before yesterday I was up on the Kinder Plateau, Kinder Scout in the Peak District, and it was a prime example of why I always carry a first aid kit and I do not skimp on it. And it is because we may not need it, but we may stumble upon somebody else who does need help, and that's why having a first aid kit and knowing how to use it is really, really important. So pop that in your bag. What am I missing here? Sunscreen on the day like today. Good hiking boots, make sure you're nice, comfortable walking clothes. And really, it can be always fun to have a good buddy coming hiking with you, whether a furry forward version or a furry 2-forward person, doesn't really matter. I would say those are my mainstays, to be honest. Yeah.
Cool. So I'm looking at the time. We've got 5 minutes left. So maybe if anyone has any questions about Audit Survey, OS Maps, anything that's been said, yeah, I'll run down and hope we don't get a lot of feedback on the mic.
We used to have some problems with the OS locate. Is that still in existence? Because you had difficulty showing where you were, and you to actually try to send that information to somebody else in an email. Has that been resolved?
Yeah, so the question about OS locate, it wasn't a problem I was aware of. I think we maintain two main apps at the moment. OS Maps, OS Locate is a sort of basic version. I'll show it you as I talk. So the OS Locate app is designed really to be used in conjunction with a paper map. Really basic, is free. It essentially gives you your grid reference on the screen, and if you've got a paper map, then you can instantly see where you are on that. So that's available to you to use free off the App Store. OS Maps, you can still get a grid reference if you want to cross-reference it with a paper map, but the advantage there is you can press Center Me here, and it's going to fling over to my. If you can see that, if you've got excellent eyesight at the back, take you to exactly where you are on the map. So generally, you won't need to use both. If you're using OS Maps, it just shows you exactly where you are. If you're using OS Locate, it gives you a grid reference, which you can then plug into OS Maps. And OS Locate is what people like Maps and Rescue, who are partnered with, recommend as a sort of emergency backup to always take out and about. Any chap at the back? Yeah.
It's getting a step count in, isn't it?
How popular is your print your own map service? I mean, I've got one for my own location, which I think is great for exploring local places. But I was wondering, how popular is it? Because I think it's a really useful service. Thank you, and that man hasn't been paid by Audit Survey for asking that question. Nick, how many custom-made maps do we sell a year? Cool. Yeah. So into the hundreds of thousands. It's another product you can use if you go to the OS shop. It's available. So it's basically a way of ensuring where you are or where you want to be is right in the middle of the map. Really good for gifts. So yeah, in short, very popular. We're always doing some work on it as well. So you can now print big maps like you did before. You can also print custom ones, great ones. If you come over to the store, you can have a look at some things available. But yeah.
I can testify to that actually. I don't know if you guys know the Lake District National Park, hopefully you know the Lake District National Park, divided into 4 areas, and there's that one annoying bit in the middle. And my friend for my birthday got me a custom map, so I brought it all together and I have the middle bit in one sheet. Very satisfying.
Yeah, the other thing I'd say, and I'm slightly biased because OS Maps is the product I work on, but that's the really nice thing about, you pay for a subscription, it's £20 and you get it today, and you can print infinite numbers, obviously not quite as big, but A4, A3, and it's then always focused on your walk. So if you want to, if you've got a walk in the middle of a Lake District and it crosses four maps, instead of having 4 massive paper maps in your rucksack, you can have one sheet of A4 which covers everything you need. And if it gets wet and ruins, then you can recycle it at the end of the day and print off a new one. Cool.
Hi, I'm Heather. I love Ordnance Survey. I'm obsessed with maps. I walk and cycle, horse ride, paddleboard, and all the tick boxes up there. And that would take place all over the UK. So despite the accent, I've lived here for 20 years. So my popular use would be around England, Wales, and Scotland. You said at the start though that this covers UK extensively. So when are the maps going to be available for Northern Ireland? You said you're going to work with the other mapping agencies, so that'd be good to know.
Another excellent question, and another one we promised we didn't plan. So actually, Northern Ireland is covered by different organisations. So OS Maps GB, which is England, Wales, and Scotland. So we kind of started off by including the data that we collect ourselves in England, Wales, and Scotland. OS Northern Ireland exists as a separate organisation. So from next month, which is good timing, you'll be able to access OS Northern Ireland mapping in OS Maps. So that's next on the list, basically, after the USA. Cool. Possibly time for one more question if anyone's got anything burning. I mean, we're here all weekend, so if you've got questions, then there's a load of people who'd be more than happy to answer them. We've also got a shop selling kind of physical products, but also a special show offer for OS Maps. So if you thought that was interesting, if you think it'd be useful, then give it a try. Get it for a year and see if it works for you. We're pretty confident it will, and enjoy. Anything you'd like to sort of say to
Well, thank you so much for sitting with us, guys. It's been really good to see everyone with smiling faces. So it's been great doing this with you as well, Tim. So I am an OS champion, but as I've already mentioned, I want to spend more time in
champions and ambassadors around. So if you have got any questions about OS Maps, please ask. Come and ask myself as well. There's loads of people here that can help me with that and help me to get outside a little bit more safely. We're going to be having an hour's break for lunch now. I think there's going to be a few people hanging around if you want to grab up and ask them questions. We're next on here at 1 o'clock for the next call. Stay tuned for that one as well. Thanks very much, everybody.
You can read maps. That was a very good, interesting program. I'll be back later on and give you updates. Thank you.